This is a brand new electric car. It seats 4, drives over 200 miles on a charge, and comes with a touchscreen, cameras, and a warranty. In China, it costs about $10,000, less than half the price of the average used car in America. Last year, it was one of the best-selling cars in the world's largest auto market. But how come these Chinese EVs are so cheap? The easy explanation is the one you've heard: cheap labor. But when analysts took these cars apart, dollar by dollar, cheap labor barely showed up. To understand the price, let's start with the making cost. The research firm Rhodium Group compared building a BYD against a Tesla Model 3. The Chinese car was roughly $4,700 cheaper to make. Then they broke that gap into pieces. And the pieces are the whole story. Among the pieces, government subsidies are just 5% of the gap, so small it didn't even lead the list. Half came from something called vertical integration, another third from lower overhead, spreading costs across a flood of cars. China's price advantage isn't a discount, it's an engineering decision. So let's walk through the 6 things they actually did. Reason 1. They don't just assemble the car. They build everything inside the car too. Most Western automakers buy their parts: a battery from one company, a motor from another, chips from a third, each taking a slice of profit. BYD does the opposite. It builds roughly 70 to 80% of its own car in-house: the batteries, the motors, the electronics, even some of the chips and the factory tools. That's more than double what Tesla makes itself. Every part you build instead of buy is a markup you delete. Reason 2. The battery. And this is the big one. Control the battery, and you control the price of the whole vehicle. It uses a cheaper chemistry, lithium iron phosphate, skipping the expensive nickel and cobalt found in many Western packs. The result, a pack roughly 20 to 30% cheaper. China built so much capacity that prices collapsed industry-wide, from around $200 per kilowatt hour a few years ago to under $90 today. Reason 3. China doesn't just build the battery, it controls everything behind it. Think of the supply chain as a river flowing from the ground to the road. China processes around 60% of the world's lithium and 70% of its cobalt. Downstream are the cells. China makes more than 3/4 of every battery cell on Earth. And at the river's mouth sit 2 giants, CATL and BYD, who together build roughly half of all the batteries on the planet. So a Chinese automaker isn't negotiating with the world. Reason 4. Geography. In cities like Shenzhen, thousands of parts makers are packed into one region. An engineer can dream up a part in the morning and hold a prototype by evening, tens of thousands of parts, all within arm's reach. Reason 5. Speed. Chinese makers like BYD make their cars in roughly 18 months. They use simulations instead of endless prototypes, flatter teams, fewer layers of approval. They'd rather ship a good enough car today and improve it tomorrow. 6th reason is the harshest one. Inside China, this isn't a comfortable industry. In 2019, there were more than 500 electric car companies. They've fought a price war so brutal that profit margins across the whole industry fell to around 4%. The survivors didn't get there by being comfortable. They cut every gram of waste because the alternative was bankruptcy. And when these cars reach the world, they're the survivors of the most competitive market on Earth. Which raises the real question: if the recipe is known, why can't the rest of the world copy it? Because the West is trapped by its own success, and gasoline cars are where they still make most of their money. Their engine and transmission plants risk becoming stranded assets, worth little in an all-electric future. For 20 years, China quietly bought mines, built processing plants, and mastered manufacturing. Experts estimate the West is anywhere from 4 to 20 years behind, not months, years. The trapped business model, the missing supply chain, the slower pace, the software gap. The competition isn't facing one cheap car. It's facing an entire ecosystem built over 2 decades, moving twice as fast, while they're still bolted to the past they're trying to leave behind. So, how are Chinese electric vehicles so cheap? They build the whole car, own the battery, control the supply chain, cluster their factories, move at incredible speed, and were forged in the most ruthless market alive. That same brutal competition is now squeezing even the winners. Many of those 100 companies won't survive the decade. And the government that helped build this industry has begun stepping back. That's a story for another video.